and we're going to talk about listening to yourself with love. And that is a really great gift that you can give yourself. So, Scott, tell us more about listening to yourself with love.
Well, it's such a beautiful, intention to set for ourselves, I think, because we so often forget to even consider that that's a possibility. So many competing distractions are always coming along that we oftentimes forget that we even have a relationship with self and that we have a choice around how to maintain and conduct that relationship. So I just love that we are taking the time to look at this and see if we can come up with some approaches for how we can cultivate a deeper relationship with ourselves that's based on love and really listening and really, creating a safe internal world for ourselves. Because it is completely possible for us to do it. I think that's the first thing to establish. We can do that. We forget that we even have the capacity to create some kind of guidelines about how we want to interact with ourselves, what kind of tone we want to take with our internal dialogue and with our perhaps making contact with the different parts of ourselves. You know, we do have the ability to set an intention that we want to have a very loving relationship with all of our parts. And there are a lot of different ways of approaching it. And maybe we can break down the different ways that we might be able to do that. But before I jump into that, I just want to give Rich a chance to um, sort of lay out what kind of plan of attack you think might be best.
Hmm. Well, so it occurs to me that listening to yourself is not going to be different than when you listen to other people. And the more that you practice listening in general, deep listening, and if you haven't explored the deep listening work of Mavis Karn or any of the deep listening work of any three principle practitioner, that's a great place to start. And that is something that you can bring to yourself. And what that is really listening between the words. You're listening with less on your mind, listening with more spaciousness, listening for connection rather than information or to argue or to be right or listening to respond. There's a lot of ways that we've learned to listen in school that we're not listening in that way. And so I think that that's just really the basic first place to go to. And then to bring that to yourself is a beautiful gift that you can give yourself. You can give it to other people too, but to start with you.
Yeah, I really love that, setting that as our foundation and letting it spread out. Because if you don't start with yourself, it's actually harder, I think, to listen to others until you have really mastered listening to the self. You know, it's one less layer of distortion you have to contend with because you have a direct connection with self. And so I really love the idea of starting there. And with a kind of, if we can establish a sort of foundation of making wanting to make contact with ourself in a loving way that is really coming from a place of compassion,
Mm.
gentle compassion, you know, because we have received so many conflicting signals as we've we're born into this world, and the school system, does not make this kind of listening a priority. And probably we didn't get very much. Most family systems don't make it a priority. And even most friendships often don't make it a priority. Playing in sports and other things like that often don't make it a priority. So there's so many ways in which we aren't really um, given very much foundation in this approach. And that's why I love the idea of starting off with compassion. For if it feels a little bit weird, if it feels unusual, that's understandable. We haven't done very much of it, you know. But the other thing that I feel is really worth noting around it is it's such a miracle that we're even here right now. It's such a miracle that we have consciousness to be even considering the possibility of doing this. That sometimes I just marvel at that alone. And that alone is enough to settle me down and make me want to, um, consider all the benefits that can come from just creating that space of gentle compassion where I can start to explore my inner landscape.
I like the word compassion that you're using there. And the word that was also coming up for me was the word acceptance, because listening with the ears of love, really having ears for yourself, because there's a lot of ways that you can listen to yourself. You can listen with the ears of judgment or of criticism or of uh, nitpicking and perfectionism. There's so many different filters that you might use. And if you are intentional about using the filter of acceptance and compassion, that really is listening to yourself with love. And you don't have to listen to like beautiful things. You can listen to really challenging things. I think one of the things that we can do for ourselves is be really honest with ourselves. If we are not being loving to other people and ourselves, we can be honest, we can own that, but also not just fall into it and create a story about it. We bring acceptance to that. It's a recognition of our humanity, but also a an understanding, a spiritual understanding, a higher understanding of that humanity. So if we have both of those in place, wow, it sets the stage for some beautiful self-discovery. Because I think if we're missing one of them, like if we only have the compassion and not the humanness, then we're kind of spiritual bypassing. We're like, oh, we don't need to be human with, but if we have the humanness and the spirit, or if we're missing the spirit, then I think that's most of the population where they're in their humanness and they're like grinding against it, pushing against it, resisting it rather than accepting it. And in a lot of our conversations, that's what I have felt like I've been able to cultivate and not maybe not master. There's room for a deeper level of listening. There always is a room for a deeper level of relaxation and non-resistance. But that seems like a good direction to go in.
Yeah, I really love what you're saying about listening with the ears of love. That makes so much sense. It's so powerful. And I think it helps us to see that even though this might seem intimidating to be listening with this um, kind of sensitivity and gentleness, the funny thing about it is we do already know how to do it. And that's one thing I think is really important, is that we could, because we're so good at um, listening with a critical ear and dissecting things and analyzing things and all of that stuff that we're taught. It can be difficult to transition to just listening with the ears of love, as you describe. But the funny thing about it is we are love. So we actually can't not do it if we just let ourselves, you know? It's not a trying. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of paradoxical, isn't it? But this style of listening with the ears of love is not work. It's not hard. It's not something that we have to strive for or attempt to do. It's more letting go of all that armor that we've been wearing so that we can just relax, as you mentioned, relax into it and let it happen in just a way that is easy, pure, and we don't need to learn how to do it. It's actually not a skill that we need to cultivate. We just need to let it happen by getting out of its own way, you know?
Yeah, what you're saying reminds me of a story that Adyashanti tells in one of his recordings about how surprised and taken aback he was when he found out that the meditative state that he was trying to create was already there. He would wrestle with his thinking. He would try this, try that. He would try and control and focus and concentrate. And of course I think we all hear, oh, you already have it within you, all of this, but it's just a nice idea until we actually see it. And then we're like, oh, it actually is that way. There actually is a part of me that's already listening with the ears of love. That in fact, the universe loves me so deeply that that part of me is already listening with this grace, this incredible forgiveness and acceptance that is who I am. And I can forget about that. I can get lost in my own thoughts and ideas, but there's a certain gravity to it. And if, like you're saying, you can relax into that gravity, let it pull you into it, and that is effortless.
That really resonates for me so much. I feel that, that's the thing it's so interesting that our hearts really know how to open. They know how to receive, they know how to listen, they know how to connect. All of that is available to us automatically if we allow it. But it's the blockages that we create that make it so difficult for us to not only for us to connect with ourselves, but with all of our relationships. We accumulate these blockages. And sometimes it can seem like the blockages are like cement. They feel impenetrable sometimes, and it can be daunting, when we sort of sense the way that we have shut ourselves off. Because we shut ourselves off from ourselves just in the same way that we shut ourselves off to our loved ones. with these blockages that we form. And it can seem at times like it's a fortress, it can seem like it's a brick wall,
Mm.
and we don't know how to take the bricks down. That's what's it's so exciting to realize that the if they are bricks, if they are that solid, it's only a construct, and literally with one shift in perspective, they can all come crumbling down.
Mm.
That's the part that I find so exciting, is that the blockages that we feel as being so strong feel preventing us from being the kind of people that we want to be, preventing us from doing this kind of listening with a loving ear. They really actually aren't real. They're just constructs.
Mm.
And once we see that they aren't real, we can just let them go. We really can. It's so exciting to me that it is not, you know, an arduous dismantling process that has to take years. It's really just a mindset shift.
Mm.
It can be spontaneous.
Yeah, the movie The Matrix is a metaphor for an enlightenment experience. And he sees the world in a new way. He sees the code that's
Right.
behind everything, right?
Right.
And I think one of the things that is a service to us is that there is a benevolence in the design. And you and I have talked about this before, that when we use our minds in a way that hurts us, it doesn't feel very good. And that pain is something that we try and hide from, but actually, that pain is trying to show us the way home.
Right.
It is a service. And one of the questions that I ask myself every single morning is, how does the universe want to serve me today? And sometimes it serves me through challenging me in that way, showing me where I am using my mind against myself, hurting myself without meaning to innocently. One of my, I call it a prayer, but one of my prayers is, may my receiving match the universe's giving. That feels overwhelming to me because the universe is masterful at giving. And I feel like I'm this much, a very, I'm receiving a small amount. So if I were to open up all of the way and match the universe's giving, oh my gosh, it would be full. I would be full.
I feel like you just did it, though. That's the thing that's so incredible about what you're saying. Because really, it's that flip, you
Yeah.
see, when you basically said that the these challenges that the universe throws at us that can seem so daunting, when you see that these challenges that are frustrating us so much, that are disappointing us so much, that are making us feel disconnected, that are making us not feel the love, in one instant, when you can see that what appears to be the problem is the gift, it's complete melting away. And now we suddenly have access to all that love. And the receiving that you're talking about becomes it's like the valve, the shift from one direction to the other. And now once you see that what you've been complaining about is what the universe is giving you, this incredible gift, now all of that energy flows right into you from the universe.
Mm. Yeah. There was I'm reading a book too right now, and it's blowing my mind. And it talks about how if you're looking for imitation love is what it calls it, which is just this transactional kind of give and take. If you're looking for that, you can't be open to real love when it comes into your life. And real love is really an acceptance of us all of us, not just our pretty face that we put into the world, but our scars and our shadow and our challenges. And that's what we really want. We actually we think we want validation and praise and all of this for our good things that we have in ourselves. We want that to be recognized. We think that that is what we truly crave, but what we really need is acceptance of our flaws. And we can give that to ourselves. We can also receive it from others. There's ways that you can do that. But that is one of the gifts that you can give yourself to see yourself fully, be honest with yourself, and love yourself, even with all of the crap, even with the stuff that you hate about yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I totally love that because acceptance of our flaws, you know, that is self love.
Yeah.
And that is turning on its head the narratives that we are so prone to construct for ourselves. You know, it's even a step beyond acceptance of the flaw, it's celebration of the flaw,
Mm.
you know, because that's our humanity. That's who we are. We don't need to hide it, we don't need to run from it. It's actually, like I keep saying, it's the gift. Our flaws are our gifts.
Mm.
You know, there are what allow us to continue to consciously evolve. The more we lean into that, the more we see that we don't need to run from the things that are troubling us. We don't need to hide from them. We don't need to um, mask them from others. We can be vulnerable. We can just be, and it's okay. People actually like it when you are not hiding your shortcomings, your flaws. Although society constantly tricks us into believing that we're supposed to produce this presence of perfection. In fact, the people that are most comfortable to be around are the ones who are not putting on the pretense, who are just being vulnerable all the time, 100% vulnerable. That's somebody you can relate to. And so, yeah, I really love what you're saying. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you feel like is on the table before we open it up to other people's shares and thoughts and questions?
I'm trying to remember Marjorie's question. She had a really interesting
Well, let's
request. Yeah.
let's bring her back on.
Okay.
Marjorie, do you mind coming on and
Okay.
resharing what you were looking for?
Oh, I'm just working on uh being more aware of what my thoughts are to make sure they're supportive and encouraging instead of condemning or critical, um and make sure I'm evaluating my work in life based on a different measuring stick than the measuring stick that society often hands us.
Mm.
Um, so I just want to make sure I'm being true to what I respect and what I want to be rather than what I feel like other people want me to be. So just anyways, I'm trying to get better at holding captive my thoughts and making sure they're what I want them to be, um, so that I'm not doing any self-deprecating, um, or even just scaring myself. It's just like, if we think about the inner child and stuff, why would you scare your inner child with all the negative possibilities that there are in the, for outcomes? Instead, just say, what if everything works out? That's just as equally possible as all the negative things, horrible things happening. So I'm also working on not scaring myself to death.
And did you feel like we addressed it, or is there something else that you would like to ask or clarify?
I think it's all along the same strain. I just these sessions are sort of a renewal, like washing your face, a renewal of
Mm.
remembering to keep on track. Um, remember to remember kind of thing. So I'm not sure if there was a burning question at the end of all that, but I'm just enjoying the dialogue.
Hmm. I might have a question to ask you if that's okay. Could I ask her a question, Scott, or do you have something?
No, go ahead, please.
Okay. It sounds like you are trying to be a constant gardener of your own mind, which is a big job. I'm wondering if there could be an acceptance, even a lovingness. Now, this sounds weird, so I want you to try it on like a hat and throw it away if you don't love it.
Mm.
But what if you could even love the negative thoughts that you might have?
Um, yeah, I guess that's kind of I don't know, it reminds me of Thich Nhat Hanh, where he says, like, you invite it in, let it
Hmm.
sit down, serve it some tea, and give it a big hug. And and so um yeah, I guess that does sound more that concept of just accepting the negative thoughts. It's like, oh yeah, you're scared and that's normal.
Hmm.
Um and it's, maybe it's going to be okay, or I accept that you're there, and meanwhile I'll just keep pursuing the light and the belief that things are working for my greater good, even
Hmm.
if I can't see it at the moment.
Yeah, because there's a there's a way that those thoughts are serving you.
Mhm.
Even negative thoughts are trying to help us and serve us in some way. Now,
Mhm.
they might have a cost to them,
Mhm.
and they also come wrapped in a gift of service in that they feel horrible. So that's
Mhm.
helpful.
Mhm.
And we can accept that and truly see the gift in them, but also maybe it's kind of like a sweet grief where you kind of grieve the the pain of them as well.
Mhm.
Do you hear anything in that?
Yes, I do. Um, because I think I also have um, it's a generational thing. I'm like third generation Slavic, and the immigrants used fear and worry
Mm,
as a survival skill.
yeah.
And my grandmother had it, and my mother still has it. And it's just worry, 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 worry. And so I think I could just think of it as like, oh, that served that generation, my grandparents' generation, and even my mom's generation. It served them, but it's not serving me now. Times are different, and I recognize who you are, and I'm referring to this voice as like a person. I understand why you're there and why how it came to be. And I respect that it allowed my grandparents to survive and escape the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Ottoman Empire. But I'm not living in the Ottoman Empire anymore. So just maybe having some healthy respect and kindness towards that survival mentality. So then it's not critical. So then when I hear my mom like just like going like coming up with things to worry about, like that's all she talks about. Instead of feeling angry at her, I could feel like, oh, that helped her mom survive. That helped her survive. And isn't it cool that I can hear it now and maybe I can befriend it, but let it calm down in myself.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Could I say one more thing? Could I add one more thing?
Sure.
I think it might be valuable, so I'll try it out. There, like any time that you have that sort of thinking and feeling come up, it's almost like you're drowning and you're just reaching for something.
Mm-hmm.
And what you really need is love. What you are really wanting for and reaching for is love. And that's kind of the best way that you know how to get it. And there's other ways that would serve you better. So I love your reflection on, okay, this isn't serving me, and recognizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm drowning. I'm needing love. How could I give myself love or receive love that would help me to see that I'm not really drowning, because it's kind of like we're in this water where it's like 4 feet deep, but we're splashing around, and all we need to do is stand up, stand on our solid ground of being.
Yeah.
And that is, we do that through standing on love, the ground of love that is who we are and who other people are too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that. Thank you.
Sure.
I love that too. If you don't mind, I'll just throw in a few comments because I think that that's such a powerful metaphor you provided, Rich.
Sure.
And I think it really it's such a powerful a way of thinking about you, Marjorie, identified that part of yourself. I think it's really cool that you actually consider it a separate part of you that you can make contact and perhaps have a dialogue with, because even though it seems like it's being so controlling and creating so many problems in your life by introducing this worry and different things to be afraid of, underlying it, like Rich is saying, is really just a part of you that is hungry for love. And that part of you is completely innocent. And that part of you probably won't respond very well to having you pick a fight with it or be oppositional with it, right? It's going to be very defensive. But if you approach it with the compassion that we've been talking about and understanding that really underneath all of it is a beautiful, loving energy, there will be nothing for it to defend against. And so gradually, those worried voices will start to see, oh, they don't really need to be that worried because there's love underneath there. There's love underneath there. There's nothing that needs to be pushed up against. nothing that needs to be fought with. Really, there's just something that needs to be embraced.
Okay. So, are you like referring to like a concept of a Holy Spirit kind of love that's like deep inside of me if I just open my heart to it? Or what where's this magic love?
Great question. Where is this magic love? I feel like this magic love is who you are. It's in all of us. It's fundamental to us. Um, it's what we really are. It's our, you might call it our seat of consciousness or our witness, but it's what animates us. It's what gives us life. It's the miracle of our existence, is another way of saying it. And it's intrinsic to all of us, and it's available to all of us, and there's nothing we have to do to earn it or win it.
That makes sense. Um, that is something I'm working on, but I guess I'm doing it within the Christian context of like I am a daughter of God and I am beloved, and coming from that perspective and seeing myself as having a new identity as beloved by what you guys might say the universe or the cosmic unconscious. Um, I am trying to remember that is my true identity. And some days it's easier than others.
Yeah, no, that all makes sense. And I think it's independent of it doesn't matter, Christianity, whatever. That's all fine. It doesn't really matter. I think what matters really is just relaxing when you notice that going on, when you notice those voices kind of being agitated, instead of defending against them, relax and the love will just bubble up.
Thank you. I will try that.
Cool. I'd love to invite Strawn on. Your name is John, but you are Strawn.
I'm
So
strong.
yes, I'm Strawn. Um, I'd love to invite you on, but share what you're hearing. You're welcome to provide a question. I said that we could share. There's no obligation, but here's an invitation.
Oh, I would definitely love to share. This kind of feels like this meeting with you guys and just hearing everybody here kind of feels like divine intervention today for me because I've had a pretty big breakthrough in my life today, which is unusual, and I'm so happy I'm sharing it with you with everybody here. So about 10-ish years ago, I stopped talking to my sister. We grew up together. I only had one sister, and we were like best friends, right? We were like inseparable since we were kids. And time went on. We kind of grew apart a little bit. I had lost my grandparents to like cancers and things, and she didn't handle it so well. She got angry. She got confused, and she took it out in the form of anger towards me and just anger in general. And I didn't have the capacity at the time to be like, oh, she's not angry at me. She's upset with the situation. She's upset with the loss. She doesn't know how to deal with it like I do. So I took it as like, whoa, well, then I don't want to talk to you anymore. If you're going to be mean to me and be upset. I didn't know this, but back then it was just a cry for help. I didn't understand that. And like the reason why is because we're talking about here self-love. I didn't know how to deal with the pain myself, so I shut it out. And rather than accepting it as love, like it's okay, they're gone and I wish them well, and just using love as a foundation of acceptance. And I didn't know how to do that, so I took it all as offense, and I shut her out. I told her no more talking to you. And as of lately, I've been really having issues with like insomnia and just internal tension. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm like, where is this coming from? And I started to dive into my heart more and be like, whoa, this is a matter of not accepting love, because I didn't know how to, and now I'm learning how to all these years later. It's okay. You have to just accept things the way they are, and things, people pass, things move, people move on. And I didn't know how to use love as acceptance. I used anger as acceptance and, all these other emotions. And when I finally understood that, I reached out to her yesterday and was like, I know we haven't talked in 10 years, and I I apologize for the way I behaved, and I should have seen your anger as a cry for help, and I should have comforted you with my love. We're in the same position together, where nobody wins, nobody loses. We needed each other, and I didn't do that. And I told her I was sorry. Can you ever forgive me? And she did, and now we're talking again like best friends. Um, sorry, it's just powerful, when you understand other people kind of like for them, like I know you're angry and it's okay because I love myself and I can accept myself for the pain I felt from that loss. I can also accept you and your pain and from your loss, and I don't I totally understand you. And because I understand myself, I can understand where you're coming from. And it's a shame that we lost, you know, all those years, but it's okay, you know. We're gonna get it back. Time is it's all based on perception to me. You can live 10 years in a week sometimes it feels like, and you can live 10 years and it feels like a week, it's just, or a week can feel like 10 years and go back and forth. So I just understand that now more than ever, that you have to accept the things that you can't control, and understand that love is the foundation for everything. Because if you don't use love, you don't love things, you don't love yourself or what happens that you have no control over, you'll be angry at yourself for what happens. And that's what I did. I got angry at myself. I was confused, scared, and I used that as a way to cloud my vision from, hey man, love is the only truth, and kind of everything else is just kind of illusionary, just time, differences, and things change and transition, whether you like them or want them to, or doesn't matter. It's not under your control. Why hold yourself accountable for things that you can't control? And I think that's where I went wrong. I took it so personally, and I tried to come up with a solution. And you can't do that, You have to accept what happens, and resort back to how that person would want you to be. When my grandparents that I lost, would they want me to be upset and angry? No. They loved me. They would want me to be happy. And I have to learn to see it from that point of view. And when I did that, I could forgive my sister and we can have a relationship again. And it's just, wow. These are very powerful things that can be easily overlooked if you're not looking for them. And I wasn't looking for them. That's why I didn't see them. And now, as I get older and I have more time to reflect, it all comes back to the heart. Like, this is where you come from, and this is where you shall return, Like, this is where you grew from, and this is where you shall return back to. And it's like a flower, it blooms and then it comes back down. It's like the cycle of life kind of thing. And I'm understanding that cycle, that everything returns back to love. And it's just, I think it's how it's always been, maybe how it always will be. So thank you so much for listening to me. And that's kind of what I've learned just today and yesterday. It's like, whoa, this is like a revolutionary thing for me. And I'm so glad I'm on the chat with you, everybody here.
Wow. I just felt that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really glad I'm on this call. This was like I said, I clicked on this thing. I don't ever come on the meetup, so I'm like, oh, let me just see what's on here. And right, boom, the first one I clicked was you guys.
Cool.
I am just stunned and amazed and honored that you shared that with us and we got to hear that story. And one of the first things that pops in my mind as you recount it is, you said that you realized you didn't need to take it personally, which that
Yeah.
is such a huge insight
Yeah.
that's going to serve you so well for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I just really want to tell you that, first of all, I think it's amazing that you've come to this understanding that you've come to. Secondly, to be very gentle with yourself, because you said it took you 10 years to
Yeah.
get there. And I can tell you, 10 years is actually quick
Yeah.
to get to forgiveness. Some people don't get to forgiveness until their deathbed.
Yep.
That you did it in 10 years, incredible and amazing. And I just really applaud you.
Yeah, and just like you said, it was like a flash. It just happened instantaneously. It didn't take 10 years to get there. It took like a day, but the 10
Right?
years was just the buildup for that one moment
Yes.
that made it
Isn't
transition
that?
my perception, and everything changed instantly within a short amount of time.
Wow. See, these are the greatest stories ever because I so believe in that. I so believe in that instantaneousness.
Yeah, yeah,
It's available to all of us.
yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. Yeah, I love that you're seeing it as an insight too,
Yeah,
because that will serve you, and you can really kind of cultivate that insight. Like you kind of spend some time with it and see that, let the roots go really, really, really deep. And because there's really, all you need is one insight
yeah,
that branches into other insights, but to really just see one and hold to it, that is a path.
yeah. Absolutely. Um, today it kind of feels like the movie. You guys ever seen the movie Scrooged before? Scrooged, where it's like Christmas past, present, and future. It kind of gave me an insight today that I saw my past, what got me here, into my present, and I saw the future. If I didn't change what happened, I would have lived that way till my deathbed, and maybe just I would realize that before it was too late, or maybe not at all. I worked in hospice care for a long time, and I worked with people that were stage 4 cancer for a long time, for many years, for state agencies. And I can tell you, I've seen it so many times where people finally realize at the last moment, oh, I should have just loved. I should have just understood that we're all in the same kind of position, and we all need love. We all need that. And love is who we really are. And when you realize that, it's just it's hard to watch it when it's too late, or too way too later on down the road where things cannot be repaired. So I'm very glad that I realize that now, and I'm glad to share with everybody, because I don't want to keep it to myself. I don't want to be like, oh, let me just keep this to myself. I want everybody to know what love can do and how much it can transform if you allow it to, and if you want it to. It will save your life. And I'm hoping that maybe somebody heard that and they said, you know what, I'm gonna look into this love thing a little bit more. I'm gonna ponder a little more on it, and feel here more. And it might lead me to my own realization one day.
Yeah, it sounds like you're serving your insight,
Yeah.
which that is it gives us more when we serve our insights, when we
Yeah.
activate them in our lives and share them and give the universe what we've received.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful
Oh,
work. Keep sharing. Keep sharing
yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thank you. Wow.
Hmm. Well, friends, we've come to the end of this exploration. I always want to end with gratitude and acknowledgement and receiving, because it's cool. I mean, you spent some time with yourself and with us, so ex in exploration, and that is valuable, very valuable. So
It is.
cool. You're welcome to say goodbye and unmute. Uh,
Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank
Sure,
you,
thank
everyone.
you.
Thank
Is Cat
everybody.
still awake? A cat might be asleep. It's very
That's
late
okay.
there,
She's
Steve.
still with us.
Yes, she's still with us.
Well,
Uh,
beautiful work, everyone. This was an
yeah,
amazing time.
yeah, I'll post the recording. And we also work with people one-on-one. So if you're interested in connecting one-on-one with us, please, we're sending out an invitation. We're sending out a request for you to connect with us. So
Cool.
see if we could serve each other. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice. All right.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
rest of your Saturday. Bye.
Yep.
Thank you.
And
Bye-bye.